Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild might be the best Zelda game they've ever made. It's a bold statement. It's a pretty bold statement. It is a really good game. I started off thinking this game was awesome, went to a point where the game was frustrating me at times, and kind of cycled back to thinking the game is awesome. It is certainly possibly the most ambitious Zelda game. It's definitely the most ambitious Zelda game I've ever played. Maybe one of the most ambitious video games I've ever played. Now, I haven't played much in the way of like open world RPGs like Elder Scrolls and all that stuff, or Fallout really, but there's definitely, I'm told, a lot of elements from those games on this game, and I think some of those games were inspiration to the design team when they made this game. But the fact that they were able to take that kind of genre and slam it into Legend of Zelda without a lot of cracks forming in the design is pretty amazing. Like, this game is very fun to just run around and screw around and explore in the open world. Like, it is a massive, massive world that you can run around in this game in. And that's just amazing, like the level of detail. I remember playing Ocarina of Time and thinking it was like a big world, and then playing Twilight Princess thinking that was even a bigger world, and this is just crazy. And it's kind of mind-blowing to think that this is a Nintendo game. Like, you know, think of Nintendo being a company that makes systems that can handle this kind of world. And yes, on the technical terms, there's pop-in and there's whatever, and you don't see enemies from a mile away, but it is quite impressive and very fun. I think for my friend who played this game, he had one complaint, and that would be about the dungeons. There's not as much in the way of traditional dungeons, and even those that are there are very different. And I think while that's true, it is cool of them to go in a completely different direction with a completely different mechanic when it comes to, like, the 4 dungeons as they were are kind of like Rubik's cubes or living puzzles in their own right. And I think it's okay to have that little bit of structure that you kind of bounce back and forth from non-linear gameplay to linear gameplay. It's good to have that. And while I'm thinking of that, the story of this game is kind of told in a very interesting way through those memories and through the bits in the story that you have to find. Like, you have to go find them. I thought that was very cool. At this point in time, I have finished off 3 of the Divine Beasts. I have the Master Sword, and I'm feeling pretty good about my chances with Ganon. I've got most of the map at least uncovered, not necessarily thoroughly explored, but it is amazing how many different things you can do in this game. I think there's one point where I was like soaring through the air and fighting a dragon and with like slow-mo bow shots, and I was like, what is this? What is this game? What's going on? There are some minor complaints I have sometimes just about, like, I can understand why it took them so long to develop this game, because, like, just to get the physics engine and how Link interacts with the world to work must have taken forever, especially with some of the multiple choices you can go about solving things. Like, they had to make sure all that stuff worked. But there are a lot of controls, and sometimes I just start clicking off the rock stuff, especially I haven't played in like a week or so, and that can be a little frustrating at times. He doesn't get up quickly when he falls down from like a laser blast or whatever, and that can be troublesome. But overall, I feel pretty confident when I'm fighting stuff that I know what I'm doing, and sometimes when I don't, it gets frustrating. But it also did a really good job of, like, I don't know, just like growing with the player, I guess. Like, in the start, you got this introductory section. There's stuff that you very clearly cannot handle when it comes to the Guardians and even lizard people at a certain point in time. But the more you explore and the stronger you get, it kind of like raises up with you a little bit when it comes to some of the more difficult creatures. But with that difficulty curve, I think brings joy when it comes to, like, oh man, I finally figured out how to do this. Like, the first time I realized I could kill a giant troll Hinox thing very easily. I was like, yes, I can do this. Though it does make me wonder, I think there's like probably a, a there's probably a route you're supposed to take throughout the game when it comes to like which of the divine beasts you beat first. I assume that the Zora one is the one you're supposed to play first, just because of like where the game sends you at first. You're like, go over here. Oh, the Zoras are right there. That would be the easiest one to do. And then, someone meeting you quickly once you get in there, and it kind of sends you on your way. I assume that's the first one. Camera Woman did that first. For whatever reason, I did the one that she hadn't done at the time, which was the Gerudo one, which was kind of frustrating at times when it came to just, it is a complex beast. There are multiple moving parts. It is a difficult puzzle to solve. But once I beat it, I got the Urbosa's Fury, that big electric thing. And that I felt like was really helpful when it came to defeating a lot of the large open world monsters, whether it was the sand monster or the Hinox or even the Linnells at certain points. Like, it was easy to take out a big group of monsters with that thing. I did that one first, then the Zora one. So those two abilities combined are pretty nice. Just did the Goron one. Don't know how useful that defensive thing's going to be, but point being, I feel like maybe the Zora is the one you're supposed to do first, and maybe the Desert one is the one you're supposed to do last? I don't know. We'll see what I think with the last Divine Beast. I have heard that Ganon's castle is not particularly hard. Maybe because you're used to how the game works by that point in time, but we'll see. It was a very good game. I'm very pleased that it sold so well. I think it might be the highest selling Zelda game at this point in time, which kind of boggles your mind, doesn't it? Like, Zelda as a series is one that's very, very much special to Nintendo fans and to a lot of people in gaming, but it doesn't sell nearly as well as things like Mario or sometimes Smash Brothers or even Mario Kart. Like, everybody likes Mario Kart, but it's not really something that's like cherished in people's minds. But it's a fun game. I'm like a year late in playing it, but if you haven't played it, it's very, very good. Zelda is in very strong hands.